Okay, so we have some really unusual weather for Michigan. See that bright light? That's the sun. We don't get the sun that often in the winter. But not only that, it's 44 degrees. Middle of December, 44 degrees, and supposed to be even warmer than that tomorrow. So I'm taking advantage of that and doing a couple of the things that I need to get done that require non-cruddy roads, for one thing, and also doing something outside. So I just went up to Menards and picked up a bunch of paneling for the utility room, which I didn't want to bring that home in cruddy, rainy, snowy weather because paneling's not that durable. It's just masonite and not real good with wet weather. So I did that, and I also picked up a whole bunch of corrugated metal, so galvanized steel that's corrugated for the wainscoting in the living area, for part of the living area anyways. And I want to age that. I want it to be rusty. I don't want my Jeep to be rusty, but I want my galvanized wainscoting to be rusty. So I'm gonna lay that all out on the driveway, and I'm going to spray it with muriatic acid, and that will kind of burn the galvanized coating off it. And then I'm going to follow up spraying it with hydrogen peroxide, which will rust it really quick. So I'm going to do that this afternoon and take advantage of this nice weather. All right, so I have a whole bunch of wainscoting panels over there in the driveway. I'm doing it over there because I don't want to kill any grass or anything at the other house, but this is the look I'm going for. So basically what I'm going to do is spray the panels with muriatic acid, and then I'm going to go in behind it after it burns the galvanized off a little bit, and then spray peroxide on it and make these things look rusty, rustic. Rust is cool on some things, not cool on others, but these are brand spanking new, and I'm gonna make them look not so brand spanking new. And I do have rubber gloves on under my warm gloves here, just in case I were to spill some. All right, so there's not much happening yet. You could hear them sizzling a minute ago. Let's see if I can get you a close-up look. So you can see it is reacting with the galvanized, kind of burning it off. And it's kind of pooling up in some spots, which will end up rusting more than others. But the muriatic acid part is done. So I'm gonna let that sit for a little bit, and then I'm gonna come back with the hydrogen peroxide and make these babies rust. All right, let's hit these things with some peroxide. Dialed in just right. I'll show you what we got going on here. You can probably see it already, but the peroxide is actually making it rust. Let me zoom out here. That's better. So it's rusting pretty much instantly, and each panel is going to be a little different, and I can go even farther with it, if I want to, I can do the whole process again. It doesn't take very long. So you can see this one's not quite as far rusting as the other one. And if we go down here to the one that I just sprayed, you'll see there's hardly anything yet. It actually kind of turns green first. You see it kind of has a green tint to it, and then it starts to rust. So I'll let that rust probably overnight, and then I'll show you what it looks like. My hair is getting crazier by the day. I'm gonna have people coming out of the woodwork offering to cut it soon, but I'm just gonna let it grow. So I got the paneling for the utility room. I'm gonna flip this around and show you what I got. So it's kind of a whitewashed, weathered wood siding look. Yeah, I mean, it's just a $30 cheap paneling, but it's the utility room and it'll look really nice when it's done. But paneling's kind of a pain in the butt to work with, but I'm gonna do it because Mrs. Z wants it, and I'll do anything for that girl. So I'm gonna start cutting holes out of this where they need to go, and I'm gonna come in here and start putting this stuff on the wall so that when my buddy Rob comes with the boiler, he can mount that thing on the wall and we won't have to work behind it. So here we go. Oh, seriously, I feel like I waste an insane amount of time between moving stuff over and over and over. My own fault, probably. Some of it anyways. And looking for stuff that I've set someplace. This house isn't that big. How can I lose stuff? Like, every time I gotta find my tape measure. I got like 5 of them here. Ah! Yeah. I feel like maybe half of my time is actually productive and the rest of the time is wasted. I gotta work on that. I think my wife is right. I'm getting crazier as I get older. Okay, that was a large amount of work. It feels like 3-step process, and I may even end up doing another coat of clear over top of everything, satin clear. So we'll see, but I'm gonna start hanging them on the wall as soon as they're dry. I think the finished product is going to be well worth all of the effort, but that is a lot of work. But they turned out really beautiful. Check this out. So this is exactly the look I was hoping for. Just antique-ish wood. And some of these boards already looked like this. Probably the ones that sat on top at the lumberyard for a little while and actually got real weather. But I feel like I matched them really good. I feel like you can't tell the difference between the ones that are naturally aged and the ones that I aged. So I'm gonna let these dry up a little bit, and then I'm gonna start hanging them up on that wall, and we'll see how it looks. I'm looking gnarly today. Red beard again. But anyways, the boiler is the next big goal. Get the boiler installed, get water running through the boiler, get water running through the floor so we can heat this place. So that's my whole end goal right now, my next goal. I don't even care what happens after that at this moment, but obviously the next big thing will happen after that. But to get heat in here is my number one priority right now. It's a nice day today. It's pretty warm, but the cold is coming back. So I just finished doing this paneling in the utility room. In fact, I'll turn this around so you can see it better. It's a small room, so I can't show you super well, but we do have a window in there that I have to trim out. So we did this rustic paneling, which I showed you before, kind of a cool look. So I got all the paneling on all of the walls in here, 8 foot high. I'll go back and do the other 2 foot later. But right now the priority is being able to install the boiler on that wall right there, plug it in, hook it up to the water and all that jazz. So I can go in and put corner trim later where I have a seam across there from because I'm gonna install the second piece of paneling up there. So I'll have a seam, a horizontal seam, and I'm gonna cover that with a piece of rough sawn trim, which will also help act as a support for the wire shelving I'm gonna do in here. So I changed my mind about the loft idea because we do have a couple lights up there. So I'm gonna do wire shelving so that lets a little bit more light through. So I'll go back and trim all of the corners and the base and all of that jazz later. I also have to put a door in here. But for right now, we have made the paneling so we can get the boiler installed. And we can get outlets in here and plug stuff in. I have this corner all done where the washer and dryer is gonna be, so we can go ahead and put the washer dryer in here. And yeah, sorry for all the rambling. It must be the paint fumes. So now I'm gonna start working on this wall here behind me because these boards are nice and dry at this point. I'm gonna start putting them up on the wall, and if I decide later I wanna put another coat of polyurethane on them, I can do that when they're on the wall, so I don't have to wait to do that. So it was a whole lot easier to do all these steps before they get put up, but I'm gonna start installing those. I can't wait to see this. I think this is gonna be sweet. All right, so I'm one piece short because of the piece that I stained too dark. So I gotta make another one of those, but it turned out really cool. Let me show it to you. So I think as far as like an accent wall, it turned out really good. Exactly what I was hoping for. So basically in between these gaps, you can see this fabric right there, and it hides the studs. It's I had to do 2 layers of it because it wasn't dark enough with just 1 layer, but it's not an expensive material. Basically, it looks somewhat like felt. Originally, I bought a black plastic for it, and I'm glad I didn't use that because that would have been glossy in between each board. So I like that it's flat finish. It would even be cool maybe someday just to do like some white chinking in between each one of those. That might look a really log cabin-esque. So I gotta make one more board up there, and then I gotta start transforming all of those boards to look like these, and then I can complete that wall as well. I gotta make another, I'll stain 1 extra board so I can do that bulkhead there. And then once we get the walls on the hallway, I can actually trim this whole doorway out, and that will look really cool, all done. So I think what I'm gonna do, I know I was debating like over here on the pantry, whether I wanted to do the trim all white or whether I was going to stain it. So I think my final decision is to stain it so it matches all of that. And then all of the trim in here that I stain, I'll use that same process that I used on these accent boards. But I think that's a really neat look. So probably not for everybody, but I like it.